Gamers, welcome! Today we're checking out, for the very first time, a game that goes by the name of Stormgate. This, for those of you unfamiliar, is in many people's minds I'm gonna mute the notifications for just a little bit. It's the spiritual successor of StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3, whatever you want to call it. It's a Blizzard-style real-time strategy game that's been in development for a little while. It's made by the lovely folks over at Frost Giant, and you're not technically allowed to stream this game yet. You're not allowed to make content for it just yet. However, they've given a couple streamers, myself included, a little bit of an exception to that rule, just for today. They've given me a 4-hour slot to check out Stormgate live right here on Twitch. Now, the reason why they're doing that is because the closed beta just began. So as of yesterday, there was still an alpha for this game. I did play that for about 30 minutes in total, not nearly as much as some other people. There was a closed alpha for this game, and yesterday they shut the alpha down, they updated the game, and turned it into a closed beta instead. One of the reasons why they've made the closed beta, from what I understand, is because the game is now pretty far along in development, first and foremost, but also to help promote their Kickstarter. So if you're watching this on Twitch, I will be making a video about this too, so hello everybody on YouTube. You can wave hi to the guys on YouTube. I'll post a link to the Kickstarter in both Twitch chat as well as the YouTube video description. You can hit !Kickstarter in the chat right now to get a link to their Kickstarter. It's an affiliate link, so I get a little bit of a kickback as well if you decide to, well, support them directly using their Kickstarter. They've already absolutely blown their original goal out of the water. So from what I understand, the reason why they're doing a Kickstarter, even though the development of the game is fully funded, is mostly to help with the publishing of the game. So they have a lot of cool rewards. Basically what it comes down to, right? Like if you're a AAA studio, not only do you have a lot of money available to make a good game, but also oftentimes even more money available to market the game, right? And you can obviously publish your game and hope that it's good enough and people will pick it up, but having some actual publishing budget available is really nice. So I think that's probably where the majority of this pledge goal is going, but I'm sure it's explained here somewhere. Ah, there we go. Why Kickstarter? Yes. So it's fully funded to release. This Kickstarter is in part as a response to fan request. We also think it blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah. So go ahead and check it out in case you're interested. Link is down below. And again, it's an affiliate link, which hopefully will be kind of cool. Now, like I said, I haven't played this game all too much yet. I played the Vanguard for about a half hour, I think, when they first put it into the earliest version of the alpha. And since then, they've made a ton of updates to it. And they have also added a second race, or faction, or whatever you want to call it, called the Infernals. I touched them for just a little bit when it was day one as well, and it was a little bit laggy then, at least on my computer, so I'm hoping they fix that now. Now, one thing that I think is kind of cool, let me move my camera or hide it for just a little bit. There is a 1v1 matchmaking in the game, guys. Now, you'd imagine that's the standard, no? This game has 1v1 matchmaking, even though that took years in Warcraft 3 Reforged and also a very long time in Age of Empires 4. Sorry, I had to start this off by roasting AoE 4 and Warcraft Reforged just for a second. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. I don't know if there's anybody playing, so if I hit play 1v1 matchmaking, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find anybody, but we'll see how this goes. I think what I want to do first, and I think that'll probably be the best way to learn the game together with you, is just do a couple custom games against the very easy AI, or the easiest AI that they have. I think it's called Peaceful. They've also, as of today, introduced like a 1v3 co-op, or like, I don't know. Oh no, it's a 3ve co-op rather, not a 1v3. It's a 3-person co-op version of the game. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play that, but if I have time, I am down to go ahead and check it out. Yeah, there's this guy over here. Stalwart Defender Captain Carl Barclay. Call sign Blockade. Yeah, so obviously everything that's in the game right now is still very likely to change. Balance is not really something we gotta take into consideration here. All of the values, all of the units will likely change significantly. I always like to refer back to the StarCraft 2 alpha and beta. I've made reaction videos to those like a year or two ago. And let's just say that the game turned out to be very different compared to what it ultimately turned out to be. The game definitely, graphics-wise, looks a lot more cartoony than StarCraft 2 does, but not quite as cartoony as Warcraft 3. In my mind, this game is kind of like a mix between Warcraft 3 and Warcraft 2, but like in a good way. So they've added some maps, actually. I don't really know. Broken Crown Hinterlands, Jagged Mall, Secluded Grove? Okay, we'll just make one, I don't know. I'll just load a random map. Creating lobby. I hope it works. So apparently yesterday there were some server reliability issues. From what I understand, they have been mostly solved. Tree nut, no. Guys, get out of my game. I can't kick you guys? Yeah. Okay, I gotta be quick. I wanted to add an AI. I don't want to play against a person. AI, perfect. Just make it private, Lowko. I think nobody can enter now. This works for me. Play against me, Lowko? Do it? No. Okay. So without further ado, I'm gonna ready up here. We'll play against the easiest AI. Not to win, but mostly just to explore the game. So here we are, guys. Is this what the future of RTS looks like? I don't know. We have a command post, which I believe can be upgraded to a central command. A CC, if you may. There are different ways of upgrading it and to improve it. Yeah, I can upgrade it to a central command. It enables the medtech, the Vulcan, the scrapyard, the hangar bay, and the machine lab. Okay, so this is the main structure that we have right here at the very start of the game. This produces workers. So the workers are called BOBs, the Bobs. That's these guys right over here. The Bobs do a bunch of different things. First off, they can, well, upgrade stuff, right? They can build things. And they can also harvest the different resources. So we have two types of resources. I don't really know their names. I think this is Therium.
Ready to work.
I don't really know exactly what this is called, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, but we'll find out soon as we run out of money, assuming my macro is good enough. The interface is a little bit different than StarCraft 2 or, for example, Warcraft 3, but there's a bunch of stuff over here that will be quite familiar. So first off, we have the clock over here above the command panel. Luminite, that's the name. We have Luminite right over here, right next to the clock. Then over there, we have Therium, and we have the supply cost. So the supply indicator over here is a loaf of bread. Very nice. The two resources. So first off, we have Luminite. Luminite gets harvested from this stuff right over here. There's a bunch of those posts set up all around the map. So you can set up extra expansions in those locations. So the way that that works is you grab a worker, you walk it over there, and you make the command post. So I can build another one of these command posts right over here. The dude is going to start constructing it, and then I can obviously start harvesting this thing over here too. Very reminiscent of, for example, a gold mine, I guess, in StarCraft, or in Warcraft 3, or, well, I guess it's kind of like a mineral field in StarCraft 2, right? Over here, the other resource works a little bit differently. So this is called Therium, and Therium currently is kind of sad green, okay? This is kind of like a dark greenish color. You can, I think, harvest some of it already, so currently I have 0 of it. I think I can put one of my dudes on it currently. But basically, it's gonna enrich over the course of several minutes. And it doesn't, I don't think, ever fully disappear. So you can harvest it, and the guys are basically, yeah, you can see it sort of slowly expanding towards, well, I guess any direction of my base. I don't know if it can ultimately fill up all the way, I'm not exactly sure, but it grows, and then ultimately you can continue mining it. So I can harvest a little bit of it. I think if I harvest it with 5 workers for now, it's not going to grow any further. So that's about it. Yeah, you can slowly harvest that. So it's like the secondary resource. So this is not doing the Age of Empires thing where you have like 4 different resource types that you have to take into consideration. Instead, it's 2 resources, which I personally prefer. In Warcraft, sorry, not in Warcraft. In Age of Empires, I always get a little bit confused about the amount of resources and balancing all of it. I think this is a lot easier in general. All right, so you can see that over here in the bottom left. Next up, underneath that, we have the Build Structures tab. We have Train Units Advanced, Upgrades, and Upgrade Advanced. One really cool quality of life improvement that they've made to this game is that you don't actually have to select a worker. So if you've been playing strategy games for a really long time, selecting a worker and making a structure is natural to you, right? One of the most common complaints I've heard from people that have never really played real-time strategy games before is that they are not used to selecting a worker to build with. So you don't actually have to do that in this game. Instead, you can hit Q, build structures, and then, for example, if I want to make another one of those, I can just put it down, and the game will auto-select a worker that's close by. This is obviously suboptimal if you want to be min-maxing your build order. Because say, for example, you want to make an expansion, what you should do is pull a worker, and then make sure the worker arrives right as you have 400 Luminite in this particular instance. But it's just one of those things that, like, will hopefully make the game a little bit easier to play for newer RTS players without like lowering the skill ceiling, if that makes any sense. So right now, by the way, I'm oversaturating it. They're still gonna harvest it, but I think I will slowly like get rid of the amount of enriched stuff that's currently going on. Yeah, it's one of the small things that I do think, like, overall, just pro gamers are definitely gonna make use of this as well, right? Say you want to make a supply structure, you can just plop a bunch of them down like so, and they will automatically build that. You don't actually have to go back to your base and put all of it down. So the worker over here that was building the natural here previously, that one just ran up over here as well. I actually don't know what they do when they're done. Are they gonna go back to work automatically too? Yeah, they will. I'm assuming since this guy over here is not at work, he'll probably continue chilling. He's just gonna go back to the point, I think, where he was already at. Or maybe he's gonna start harvesting. No, he starts harvesting. Which maybe he actually was already doing, I just wasn't paying attention to it. Is there any advantage to choosing which workers do what? So if you want to optimize your build order in, say, for example, StarCraft 2, right? You would grab your worker, send it down to the low ground when you have about 280 minerals or so, and it will arrive at your natural expansion when you have 400. It's very suboptimal to just make an expansion whenever you feel like you can make one, right? Because that means you're basically just wasting time and resources, which is ultimately the most precious thing in an RTS game. But it's just one of those things that makes the game a little bit easier. So it lowers the skill floor without lowering the skill ceiling, which is one of the main things that you have to worry about, I guess, as an RTS designer. So anyways, we have the habitats. Those are the basic supply structures for the Vanguard. And then we also can make a barracks. So the barracks gives us a bunch of different stuff. I'm not really too familiar with all of the units that are available in the game, especially since they've updated quite a few of them. So I don't really know exactly what we can do, but I'll just increase the amount of income that I have and we'll just make a bunch of stuff. Hotkeying, by the way, comes very natural. So if you're used to using, like, for example, shift commands, all of that works. I can steal control groups as well, just like I can in StarCraft 2. So this is a thing that not every RTS game has. StarCraft 2 is the main one that I think comes to mind. So real quick, the way that this works, you select a bunch of dudes, you hit Control+1. And the hotkey over here, I don't know why it appears on the right side of the screen. It's a bit confusing to me, but it's right over here on the right, right? You select another worker. So in this case, I want to add this dude to control group 1. I can hit Shift+1 and it gets added to that existing control group. So now hotkey 1 has got all of these things right over here. And then we also have alt control groups. So say I want to steal these dudes out of control group number 1 and add them to hotkey 2. I can hit Alt+2 on the keyboard and now I have 2 control groups for the same thing. If you've played Blizzard games, all of that will come. So these are enriched right here. Yeah. All of that will come very natural. I know that at some point, I believe they are planning on adding key customization, but currently I don't think that's the thing just yet. So that'll be something they have to add. Yeah, there is DLSS, by the way. Should I try and turn that on? I hope that doesn't crash anything. DLSS should actually help quite a bit. You just learned how to steal hotkeys in StarCraft 2. Yep. Very useful skill, especially for like run-bys and stuff. How do you remove only one unit from a control group? Okay, so say this is hotkey 1 over here. I can hit Shift, deselect one, and recreate hotkey 1. Or I can deselect over here at the bottom of the screen and deselect. All of those basic mechanics that you may be familiar with in, for example, StarCraft, are in this game as well. Which maybe sounds like a given to most people, but like this is one of my main pet peeves whenever I play a new RTS game. It is not necessarily the default. If you plan on making a competitive game, having proper hotkeying, control group creations, and all that is incredibly helpful. The command post has an ability called Overcharge, which costs a bunch of energy. So all of these structures you can see over here, they have a bunch of energy. Same for this one over here. I can activate it, which essentially creates like an extra shield, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so it grants all the friendly workers that are nearby 100% increased damage and 100 armor for 30 seconds. So I guess this is like a defender's advantage type of thing, where only the workers benefit from it. So if you're being attacked, it might still not be a great idea for you to pull your workers, but at the very least it's an option, you know? It is something you can mix in. In general, I think defender's advantage is something that you should have in an RTS game. So you can hopefully not just rely on your units spawning closer to the battle, but also actually use some of your defensive troops to push back any early game aggression. So you can actually, 30 seconds is a long time. But I think you gotta take all of those values though with a grain of salt. Because those values are very easy to adjust, and I don't really expect that they're gonna remain the same until the release of the game. Alt F4 I'm sure works as well, yes. Thank you guys. Okay, so what did we make? We made these barracks. Let's make a bunch of units. So we can make units by selecting the barracks. We can also make units by hitting the W key. So Q is for building structures. So just like I said, you can hit Q over here to like quickly add on a habitat, which is like the supply depot, like the supply structure. Likewise, I can hit W over here and make a bunch of things. So I can make bobs. That's my unit producing structures. So now by hitting WA, my command posts started producing workers. So say, for example, you're out on the map, you're over here. You don't actually have to hit a hotkey to select your command centers or your nexus or your town hall or whatever. You can hit W and make units that way instead. Like, that's one of those things, again, if you're making an RTS game, you want to make it more accessible without lowering the skill ceiling. This is one of those things that I think will really help out when it comes to, yeah, making the game more accessible for newer players without making the game easier, per se. Likewise, we can do the same thing for the Lancer. So the Lancer, I have made 3 of these barracks. We can make them. We also have a bunch of scouts. So this is a sturdy melee infantry unit. Its armor provides extra protection against weak attacks. So its attack power is low, its durability is average, and its speed is also pretty average. Okay. So these units come out. Now these are kind of like zealot-looking things. So we're technically playing the Vanguard, the human resistance, but these guys kind of remind me of zealots. So we can see that, oh yeah, that's another thing that I didn't even get over yet. Notice that little thing here in the top right-hand corner? Actually, we'll get some more units going here. They automatically get added to existing control groups if you want them to. All of those things make it so much easier once you get used to all of this stuff. And again, you can toggle that on or off. It's noob friendly, yeah. I think it's very critical that there is like a very high skill ceiling, so good players actually are good. So for example, in StarCraft 2, at some point they experimented with having queens automatically inject bases whenever they can. That was pretty bad. Yeah, you don't want to make the game easier per se, mechanically, but you do want to make it more accessible for players. All right, anyways, we have these Lancers over here right now. So the Lancers, the unit's attack types deal area damage in a line. So kind of like, for example, I guess a Hellion, although to a lesser extent. They deal a bunch of damage in a line. I don't know if they actually... I don't know if I can deal friendly damage to my own troops like that. Yeah, so I think that's supposed to deal damage as well to the unit that's in between. But it doesn't because they're friendlies. Notice, by the way, unit responsiveness. Another thing that drives me nuts in, for example, Age of Empires is when I tell a unit to go somewhere and it doesn't. It sounds like such a basic thing, but for some reason it's not. You tell units to go do something and they listen to you, which is really sweet. Up until this point, it's really only been the Blizzard RTSs that have really had that. Even the Red Alerts and Command & Conquers and stuff have never really gotten too close to the reactiveness, I guess. This game does have that. You can shift Q commands, yes. That took a patch or two before they added that to Age of Empires again, Age of Empires 4. You can shift Q stuff, yeah. Can I revert, or reverse rather, the minimap? Is that an option? Lock mouse to window? Oh yeah, here we go. Is that more comfortable? Actually, that is much better. Yes, please. It's Control Alt Shift F? Oh, it is. Okay, so I have a ping currently of 10. Apparently, I'm on the Frankfurt server. Fair enough. Yeah, so that explains why the units are very quick to react to what I want them to do. I'm in Frankfurt. Yeah, aber natürlich. Okay, so these units, they have their standard attack commands. So attack move is A. They have stop commands. So I can stop command them. Hold position commands. That's a button that Hero in StarCraft 2 has not yet found about. And then we have the move commands as well, which you can also just use for G. I can patrol using hotkey G. So they can patrol back and forth. Other than that, what do we have? We have the scouts. So the scouts, or the SCOUT, you start the game with one of those things as well. That's this little fella. I used to think that they were dogs, and they look like dogs, but I actually believe that they have laser eyes or something, so I don't quite know whether or not it's fair to call them dogs. I think they may be artificial in some way, I'm not sure. I think they're robot dogs, yeah. They can be repaired, can't they? I think we're gonna... Sorry, chat. Look away for a moment. I think I'm gonna smack my own dog for a little bit. And then see if I can repair him. Yeah, I can repair him. So they are mechanical. Sorry, chat. Sorry. I told you to look away. Alright. So these guys, they die very easy. But they're fast. So they have a build or an ability called On the Hunt, which is on a cooldown. And it basically just gives me additional vision. So notice how my vision increased. Fog of War disappears a little bit nicer. We can get some more vision. If you have a bunch of them, I guess you could technically queue this. So we can maybe have a look at my opponent's side of the map. I don't know if the peaceful AI does anything. Yeah, I have 2 cats, guys. That's why, well, I grew up with dogs anyways. Yeah, so this is the enemy over here. Now, these guys aren't very strong. So I'm going up against those Lancers. Unit responsiveness is so good, though. Genuinely. Actual game changer. Are they gonna change me? Or chase me? So I'm assuming this sort of stuff will disappear. That jitteriness. That's the kind of stuff that I think we can expect at the very least will be a lot nicer when the game ultimately comes out. So this is essentially how far I've come in my own testing so far. Everything past this point is gonna be something we'll have to learn together, because I don't really know too much about the game. But that's why we're doing this today here. Supposedly, from what I understand, it's supposed to be better than StarCraft 2's responsiveness, although I don't really understand the technical limitations. They made a pretty elaborate explanation about it, but I didn't quite understand. The game loop simulates 3 times as fast as StarCraft 2, give or take. Okay. So I guess that's why it feels so responsive. Other than that, so we have Q, W, we have E, which allows me to make advanced units. We'll get to that in just a moment. We also have upgrades. So under the R and under the T button, we have additional upgrades we can get. So say, for example, you're out here microing, you notice, hey, my 1-1 is done. You can upgrade your 2-2 by clicking the buttons over here, which is incredibly handy. Again, just makes it easier without having to go back and find your engineering base or your Evo chambers or whatever. You can just click the hotkeys for it without actually having to find it manually. Sounds basic, but generally very nice. I'm not sure about unit veterancy, to be honest. I know that that is a thing. I'm never a huge fan of the concept. I don't exactly know how we can figure that out over here, to be honest. Anyways, let's try some of that upgrading, okay? So I guess I'll transfer you guys over here to another base.
Awaiting further instructions.
But I think some of those basic things can change quite significantly anyway, so we don't really have to concern ourselves with that too much. If I want to make some of the other troops, so on the units tab over here, I still have the EXO as well as the MedTech. And then we also have advanced units that I want to build.
Yes.
So by the way, we do have power building. So we have many bobs working away on one dude. Usually my problem with veterancy is that it snowballs pretty hard. So you have like, I don't know, like you're kind of winning the game and then a bunch of your units get upgraded to veterans and then suddenly they deal twice as much damage or whatever. Obviously a lot of that may need scaling, but it can kind of snowball games. Okay, so we gotta make some more structures. So we have the mech bay.
It's going up.
What else do we have? The biokinetics lab, sure.
Constructing.
Can I queue you guys to go and do that too? I think you guys are gonna shift queue that way, right?
Still here.
We have the machine lab. So in order to get that, I need to upgrade one of my command posts. We'll upgrade it to a central command, a CC. Allows this structure to cast deploy sensor drone. Okay. So I can make hedgehogs. I don't know if all of these units have finalized models yet. And this is one of those upgrade structures. So allows Lancers to increase their attack and movement speed each time they are damaged. Okay. So the Lancers are these dudes right over here. Apparently they get a little bit more powerful. Yeah, I'm not sure about power building either. I don't mind the idea of power building. It's just that generally it can make things a little bit messy. Especially like, yeah, say for example, a base race scenario. It can make things at least seemingly a bit unfair. But I guess you can't, yeah. So I don't think this is the finalized model for this unit. So this unit's called the Hedgehog. It's got quill rockets, Vanguard plating, a rocket ammo. All right. Yeah, imagine like a tower rush. Exactly. That dealt a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. What in the world was that? This unit uses ammo to attack and slowly recharges its ammo over time. Oh, now it's got its 4 shots again on its back. I see. So it's regenning the ammo. Yeah, so this is clearly not a finished unit yet. Lancer, by the way, now did get, that little buff. So you can actually see it took damage there for a moment, I think. Which allowed it to get a little bit more powerful because I just got that upgrade in the biokinetics lab. Oh yeah, this is another thing. There's power-ups on the map. So this is maybe a little reminiscent of Warcraft 3. So we have a vision camp. I think what I can do is attack the chicken. And by killing the chicken, I get temporary vision. Also, not a finalized model, I'm sure. It's a doggo. Look at him. It's a very tanky chicken. Yeah, so I don't know how long we... Oh, yeah, there we go. I was going to say. There's a timer as to how long we get this vision. So this is kind of like a Zelnaga watchtower, but you have it for a certain amount of time. And I'm assuming the opponent can also see that you took it. So it shouldn't be too hard to avoid, but it's a cool strategic decision anyways. We have resource camps over here. So there's a level 1 spider over here that I can kill. I don't really know exactly how this works either, but I think we may have gotten additional resources by killing that, something along those lines. Okay, I can also make the Vulcan. The Vulcan has kind of become like that iconic unit a little bit. So I think the Vulcan will probably be the unit that a lot of people are familiar with. I think this is also part of their collector's edition. So the collector's edition comes with like a little statue, and I believe that that is supposed to be the Vulcan. Let me actually make a couple more of these mech base.
It's going up.
Hold up. I gotta learn the hotkey. Can I Q? Okay, that works. I actually don't have enough Luminite. Or, no, Therium.
Ready.
Harvest it, please.
Yes.
I did upgrade this thing, by the way. I can get a high command as well. Requirements coming soon. So some of the units are not added to the game yet. This is just not a thing we can currently do. I also have this thing now called a sensor drone because I upgraded to the central command. Launches a drone across the map, granting vision along its path. The drone will then remain at the target location for 120 seconds. Really? Oh my god, there's the doggo again. Doggo, where you going? Okay. 120 seconds? I'm assuming they can kill it, no? I'm assuming this is targetable. It's got 50 HP. There's no way it's not. This thing has 400 HP. I think it's actually... I think it's killable, for sure. Yeah. So that's obviously very temporary. We'll make a round of Vulcans.
Got an itchy trigger finger. Moving out.
So this guy is kind of like a... He's got like a minigun type of thing. So Vulcan Barrage, this unit increases in firepower over time. The unit's attack deal area damage in a line. A lot of these are placeholder models. Yeah, so this is obviously more finalized, but I can imagine maybe these are going to change as well. So I'll make a round of them, and we'll go attack the enemy for a moment, because these guys are pretty cool. What's the button again to cancel? Oh, why? Yeah. I keep hitting escape. So escape brings up this menu. Escape in this game is not cancel. Again, they're still going to customize that as far as I know, but it gets very confusing. Yeah, it's a hotkey Y to cancel stuff.
All powered up.
These guys are very powerful, though. Other than that, what else do I have? I've got the... Improves the scout, right? For the exo. And then we have the Metex. Increases the energy regeneration of the Metex. Okay. So we'll get all of these upgrades going, just because I may as well. Soon I should also have enough to get that final one. Fair enough. We'll do a little bit of a round of attacks here with these guys.
Big way.
So they have an ability called Jump Jets. I need to get the Machine Lab for that. I think that's a pretty cool ability. Can we get it? I want to go get it fast.
Okay.
It's very difficult to balance a game with power build, though.
Ready for combat.
I guess humans in Warcraft 3 know something about that.
On my
But
way.
anyways, yeah, we'll get that thing going too. So they have a cool ability that allows them to
On my way.
get around the map a little bit
Moving
quicker.
out.
It will take a lot of experimentation for sure.
Trail.
Yeah, so the speed of the game is a hell of a lot slower than StarCraft 2.
With a quickness.
But it's also a bit faster in my mind than Warcraft 3. So this is
Moving
very
out.
much so personal preference, right? Some people love how fast StarCraft 2 is. I personally think StarCraft 2 is a little bit too fast-paced. Especially if you're not a pro gamer. It's excellent to watch. But if you're a player and you're like, my base is under attack. Usually by then your base is already dead. And the same can be said for like, your army is under attack. That's probably when the disruptor has already killed everything. It's just very unforgiving. Whereas I think Warcraft 3 is a little bit too slow. And it seems like in this game they're trying to find like a middle ground. In my mind though, this is maybe a bit too slow. Like I wouldn't mind it if it was a bit faster. But again, that is something they can scale up or change or whatever. I got the jump jet ability. Launches these units towards the target location, dealing 50 damage. I think I can use this. Yeah. To destroy trees as well. Those trees for some reason went up. I don't know why they went up.
Top speed. Make way. Make way.
Obviously, there's going to be a lot of stuff to manage at some point. Absolutely, yeah. We could also make the EXO. The EXO is a little bit different. We'll make a round of them. And then we also make some medtechs. This is support infantry.
What's the sit rep?
We'll explore those in a moment. There's a speed camp over here, which may very well help out with the speed situation that I was talking about.
Got an itchy trigger finger.
Are you guys faster now?
Make way.
I feel like you guys aren't that much faster.
Your ball to call. What's the sit rep?
Where can I see the buff on these units? I don't even know. There's no heroes in 1v1 as far as I'm aware. They are a little bit faster. It's like 20%. I see.
Yes, Commander.
So it's not that much. So this is the veteran C over here. Plus 80 health, 10% weapon damage. So basically this rewards you for keeping that unit around for a long time. And
Gunner here. Yes, Commander.
in the meantime, on the other side of the map, we've got our first dudes over here called the Exos. These are kind of like your marine type of unit. So we have zealots, zerglings, and marines. All as part of the Vanguard. At least it kind of gives me that vibe. These guys kind of have a cool ability. I don't really know exactly how they work, but they work kind of confusing. So they gain 25% movement bonus for 2 seconds when they attack. So this is an upgrade I got in the biokinetics lab. So when they attack, they get a movement speed bonus. So you can see it lasting right here on the thing. So you can kind of do some cool stutter step control. It also triggers on your own friendly stuff. So you're kind of in... Yeah, I think the idea is to use this as like a way to quickly micro your troops. These definitely have a lot of potential. The medtech. It seems to throw little things at biological units to heal them up. There's Nano Swarm as well. Unleashes a swarm of nanobots onto a target unit. And then we have System Shock, which like removes buffs off of enemy units. So it's like a bunch of debuffs. So there are definitely not like, it's not just StarCraft, right? Like there's definitely some inspiration as well from other RTS games. Is there anything else we need to make right now? I can get these upgrades going, sure. We have the Hunker ability for the Hedgehog. We have the Atlas. Lights units on the ground on fire. Okay, we have the evac speed. We have the Sentinel Adept augmentation. I don't know if the final tier of units is in the game just yet. So I can still get the machine lab. Did I already make a machine lab? Which one's the machine lab? This is the machine lab. Yeah.
How can I help?
And then we have the sentry post. The defensive structure can load infantry units. I don't think all of this stuff is implemented yet.
Still here.
So we're still missing a bunch of units that are supposed to be here. Like, you know, the battlecruiser equivalent. Or just tier 3 units in general. I think those are still in production. Oh, we may have a dropship type of thing, yes. We have the Atlas. I didn't make the Atlas yet. The Atlas is the big siege tank looking dude. There's the Hornet as well, so I need a hangar bay for that. Can I make a hangar bay? Yeah, I can make the hangar bay. Okay, so we still have a couple units to check out in that case. Yeah, so tier 3 overall is just missing. This is still to be implemented, so the requirement for me to go for the high command is coming soon. So I think we just need patience for that. But that is something that they're, you know, obviously this is closed beta, right? It's something they're still working on. Okay, so we can make some more stuff over here. I'll make one of each. We can get some more upgrades going, because we may as well. And then we have those siege tank looking dudes that are just about to pop out of the mech base over here.
Atlas here. Atlas here.
So they have deploy. They have BFG. What do you think BFG stands for? I think it's Big Fun Gun. Fun Gun. That's gotta be it. Big Fun Gun. So these guys suddenly have a bunch of range over here. They can also, yeah, you can attack ground. One thing that's pretty neat on these things is that you can actually see as an opponent where they're about to fire. So you may actually have some counterplay potential there. So say, for example, I'm running around over here and I see that this guy is gonna fire at me. I can, like, see the projected shot and maybe get away from that location if I want to. Yeah, you get some cool craters here. I thought originally, actually, the amount of time you had to see the projected shot was a bit bigger, but... Anyways, we've got the Hornet over here. Launch the Sky Mine, okay. Launches a flying mine at a target location that lasts for 120 seconds. Upon activation by an enemy air unit, it will chase down its target and detonate. I feel like these projectiles were not nearly as fast last time I played. They've definitely changed some stuff around, for sure. Alright, so basically they can put their little legs again. There you go, and then walk around. Very cool little unit. Flying Widow Mines. I don't know if we can really call them Widow Mines, but... and then we have the dropship looking thing.
Transiting now.
The evac. I can pick up units and drop them off.
On my way. Transiting now. En route.
So much for do no harm.
I think that's about it.
On my way.
Oh yeah, one thing we can do,
What's the plan?
if I'm not mistaken, is pick up
On my way.
sieged up tanks.
Transiting now.
And we can drop them as sieged up tanks as well. Now this used to be a thing in StarCraft 2 way back in the day. They removed that.
En route.
Tank effects?
On my way. En route. Transiting now. En route.
I don't know if I can use the unload hotkeys actually. Let me give that a try.
On the go.
Okay, kill him. Get away.
En route.
Yeah.
Transiting now.
So I guess there's an easy way for me to know if I am clear to
On my way.
pick up again by seeing whether or not the red circle has disappeared.
En route.
Yeah.
On my way. On my way. On my way.
It kind of looks like I have room for 2 sieged up tanks in one of these things.
Commander? Yes, Commander?
I know some of you are getting PTSD right now. I know, guys. Tank effect was pretty nuts. What about double tank effect?
En route. Transiting now. Transiting now. On their tail. On their tail. What's the plan? What's the plan? On my
I think they
way.
have a
On
minimum
my
range.
way.
Yeah, so this guy can't actually fire at me that closely.
Look out.
Anyways, I think we're gonna go ahead and kill their base, and that'll be around, or that'll be about it. So that's the basics, at least as far as it is currently in the closed beta for the Vanguard.
Tail. On my way. On my way.
A lot of these unit interactions are still to be explored. I think a lot of it is not quite as figured out as a lot of people think it is.
What can I do for you?
I think as soon as a lot more people get their hands on a lot of these strategies, they're gonna come up with some crazy dumb stuff.
On my way. On my way.
I remember the first day of the alpha, and a bunch of people were playing. Let's just say that people managed to break the game within minutes. The developers are like, so we have all these cool things. And then Mr. Fear Dragon joined the game. Anyways, we'll get to that at a later time. Victory, guys, we did it. Okay, so that wraps up the Vanguard. Let me ready up over here and check out the Infernals. Here we go. It's a little bit of a different look over here. So I don't really know exactly how these guys function. When I last played, you can see that this is also more recent work because there's no interface yet at the bottom of the screen. When I last played, the Infernals were not really part of the game yet. So I don't really know how this works. But I guess we can try and figure it out together. So first off, we have the Imps. I think they shared some artwork for these guys. They look surprisingly cute. Am I mistaken? Like, I've had a Zergling on my desk for years and years and years right now. You can make some very cute, some very cute Imp plushies. 100%, yeah. They're like Charmander with their, like, glowy tails over here. Yeah, they're kind of cute. So they have claws and infernal armor, okay. So they work the same way. I guess we'll make a bunch of them. I can train imps. Oh my god, they build fast. Oh my god, they build fast. So it looks like I have a certain amount of charges available. So right now I have 0 charges. When do I get another charge? Permanently grants Infernal units white health generation per second on Shroud. Right, so I do know that the stuff that you see over here, not the creep, but the stuff, right? The not creep stuff. Apparently that's called Shroud. When any unit dies near one of your units, their animus is collected into Shroud stones to be used for rituals. Harvest 1 animus per supply, bonus 50% if the unit died on Shroud. No, not anime. Animus, chat. Not the same thing. And now we have a Shroud generator. So this structure generates Shroud around itself. Okay. So I do know that these units have a white health bar and a regular health bar. Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting mechanic. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it. So at the start of the game, these guys had like half or so of white health. I think they call it white health. Isn't that what they called it right over here? Yeah, white health. I don't know if we're gonna come up with a better name for that. But anyways, as I leave the Shroud, it's kind of like a shield. As I leave the Shroud, the white health slowly disappears. I don't think it starts taking base health damage, so we'll have to see exactly what happens to this guy. But essentially what you're trying to do is continuously attack. Yeah, it's like the, you know, the overcharge for the bobs that we saw on the comment post? I think this is the Imp's Defenders mechanic, but we also do have like that stuff on other units if I'm not mistaken. So they don't take base health. And then as soon as this guy steps back onto the Shroud, I love that little animation, by the way, as it kind of like swirls around. Very cool. It starts gaining that stuff again. So a fight on creep, or on Shroud rather, they will have like 50% more health than they ordinarily would be. Okay, I have Shadow Flyers, but I can't actually harvest those. So instead, I guess, I can't currently get those. Instead, I guess I will be harvesting some more here from the Therium. Currently supply blocked. So what do we make for that? We have the Shrine, primary structure. We have the Meat Farm. Generates Fellhogs that also provide +2 supply and can defend against ground-based attacks. Well, we'll have to make a shrine first, apparently, because I need a shrine in order to build a meat farm. So this is the primary structure. It's used to receive... oh, I already have one of those. That's that thing. Gotcha. Alright. So we'll make a meat farm. So is this going to generate Shroud as well around itself? I guess we'll find out in a moment. Oh. Did that dude just sacrifice himself to become this... That was kind of sad. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. That looks really freaking cool. All right, so here's the meat farm. If this structure has 3 Fellhogs associated with it, and it attempts to spawn another, an excess Fellhog will be sacrificed. We have the Fellhog Hatcher. This structure spawns a Fellhog every 20 seconds. So these are the Fellhogs right over here. I don't seem to be able to control them. Are they what's granting me supply? Yeah. So they're the things that grant me supply. Maybe the meat farms themselves also give me some though. Yeah, so this thing itself gives 10 supply. And then the Fellhogs surrounding it, up to a maximum of 3 per meat farm, also give 2 additional stuff. And I guess they sort of function like static defense. So I can't micro them, but I'm assuming they will attack if enemy units are going to be close. So it's like a supply turret. That is a really cool mechanic though. I'm not going to lie. I really like the uniqueness of that. That's actually really sick. Because the Vanguards are kind of like the humans, right? Nothing all too spicy there. Maybe almost a little bit predictable. But this definitely is a little bit different. So I'll make some more, by the way, because otherwise I'll run out. Okay, next up, we have the Iron Vault, Infernal military production structure, and a Conclave, a Thrall production structure. I guess we'll make one of each. We'll have 2 of these dudes sacrifice themselves. So again, by the way, these hotkeys are something I'm gonna need to get used to. I think a lot of these things, by the way, I'm building it like I need to on Shroud, but I don't think I need to. No, I can build it wherever I like. Yeah, so this is one of those meat farms. It's just the problem is that if I built them off, I don't think I get the white health bar. So it looks like all of them have a 50% additional HP. Maybe that's a number that I'll have to tweak. I guess you can tweak it for each individual one. But now these Fellhogs that will spawn over on this meat farm, Yeah, they will not have the white health. So they spawn with 50% of it, and then it gets reduced because they're not on Shroud. So you could technically rush meat farms on your opponent's side of the map. Seems like a horrible strategy because you can't micro any of your units. But it's technically possible. Should I give it a try? Let's go, boys. I mean, we're going up against the very peaceful AI. We may as well go ahead and send some of our dudes out. This seems like a really dumb idea. Buildings don't seem to have a white health bar, no. So the buildings only have a regular health. So I've never seen this map before, by the way. It looks like my opponent has spawned top right and I've spawned bottom right. This is giving me very strong Wings of Liberty map design vibes. One of those maps that we'll look back on as pretty horrible. Because it's very close air-to-air space, but very far ground rush distance. Yeah, you can tell future me about my very first strategy that I've ever played with the Infernals, okay? Maybe in 10 years from now you can make fun of my meat farm rush. Everything definitely is very slow though. Oh god. This is not good. I'm getting killed by the dogs, dude. Oh, they do build pretty quick though. So now what? So they have to survive for 30 seconds as well before they spawn one of those hogs. And they deal no damage, really. Yeah, I don't think this was a great strategy. No, I don't think this was a great strategy, guys. But at least it was a strategy, okay? I think it'll count. I don't think they ever really attack me, so the peaceful AI is pretty peaceful. Yeah. I don't think the meat rush strategy was very good, but then again, maybe earlier on it would be a viable strategy, you know? Okay, what do we have? We have the Iron Vault. So, basic melee infernal unit can use Sunder Soul. This is the Brute. We'll make a couple of them, so they also come out in charges, kind of like warp gates. But then they need to sit there for a little bit before I generate more charges in my vault. If I'm not mistaken, yes. These guys are pretty curious, so... I don't know what that hero is called in Heroes of the Storm. Cho'Gall? I think it's Cho'Gall. You know the two-headed... ogre-looking thing? Kinda reminds me of that, except that these guys have an ability called Sunder Soul. It rips this unit in half, creating 2 fiends in the process. So, I can have them commit Sudoku, at which point they will spawn these little fiends. A lovely strategy for sure. If I'm not mistaken, these guys slowly die. Or at least they don't really live for very long. Or at least maybe they just have very low sustainability. I'm not exactly sure how it works. But they basically turn themselves into 2 small dudes instead. I think there is an upgrade as well. That's something I heard about. Where when you kill a brute, it automatically splits itself in half. Yeah, so look, it's now taking damage over time. So I don't really know exactly when that starts happening. The unit loses 1% of its maximum health per second. Yep. So I think there's some micro potential there where you can like build a bunch of these dudes. I'll send them across the map. Give me about a minute, they'll arrive. As they're about to die, you click the Sunder Soul button and suddenly you have like a new army. Which sounds really cool. I think there's like an upgrade where that basically happens automatically. Okay, we also have the Gaunt. A basic ranged infernal, attacks bounce to 2 nearby targets. Super cool. So I don't think anything here bounces currently, so I'll just send them out as well. We'll give them a try against those enemy units too. We have the Weaver over here as well as the Magmadon, but I still need to get those. So that's an imp riding a heavy melee assault beast. Ah, I saw a picture of them. They kind of reminded me of Kodos. The Kodos must be protected. Sorry. That's what goes through my mind every time I hear somebody say the word Kodo. Even if it's me, apparently. I think I can upgrade this thing to a greater shrine. There we go. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. So let's see. Is this possible? So say I'm about to... I may just accidentally win the game here. No, you guys are not allowed to join in. Go away. Yeah, so this guy's about to die. I split him into 2 dudes. This guy's about to die. I split them into 2 dudes as well. That's properly bloody, by the way. Very nice. Honestly, a really cool mechanic, though. As bloody as it is, I'm a fan, man. They're ripping themselves apart. I'm actually glad they didn't go for, like, the more tame version of having themselves rip apart and just do, like, fake blood or something. Nah, we're having, like... This seems like a disaster to deal with, by the way, if you're a Vanguard player. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Based off of what I've seen so far, if I had to pick a main race, which I'm not planning on doing, I'm planning on playing all, but I would be leaning into Infernal territory. Absolutely. Yeah, you can always do like a low violence setting. So in StarCraft 2, you have like a reduced violence option, which they use for some markets. Right, so I made the Greater Shrine over here. I can make the Shadow Cleft. So there's a research structure. I can make the Ritual Chamber. I can make the Twilight Spire. Okay. And I think that will ultimately unlock a bunch of these other units. Yeah. They couldn't do a 3rd race called Anime Girls? That would be smart, dude. That way you really can... You can really corner the entire market. Just appeal to as wide a range of an audience as possible. I was thinking about this. How many races should an RTS have? Or factions. I think they call them factions in this game. How many factions should an RTS have? So Blizzard RTSs have always come out with 2, 3, or 4 factions. But then you have other games like, for example, Age of Empires that launch with like 17. However, all of the factions in Age of Empires are mostly the same. Like you have a guy with a spear, you have a guy with a bow, you have a guy on a horse, right? You have mostly the same units. When it comes to unique factions, I think 3 is kind of nice. But then again, I'm very StarCraft biased. 4 would be neat too. Anything more than that, yeah, it becomes very difficult to balance. I think 3 at most is already hard to balance, but 2 is a bit lame. I think 2 is a bit lame. I would imagine they're definitely planning on adding more in the future. 2 is a bit lame, mostly because, I mean, TVZ is a really good matchup, but it would be really fun if there was also a Protoss versus Urk or a Protoss versus Terran, right? Yeah, 3 to 4 is probably optimal. Yeah, that's what I can imagine too. Okay, we're gonna actually move these units on over here. 4 in Warcraft 3 already is difficult to balance though, guys. But yeah, maybe. Okay, anyways, let's try out the other units. So I've unlocked the Weaver. So all of these units pop out super quick. Yeah, so these guys really remind me of Kodos. They're a little louder than Kodos, but there's basically an imp over here. He's not banging any drums, but there's basically an imp-looking dude over here trying to be fancy. Crushing charge? Okay. Charges towards a target location, crushing trees in the path. On impact, enemy units and structures will take 30 damage and are stunned for half a second. We have Consume. Sacrifices a targeted Fellhawk, recovering 50% of max white health instantly. Okay. That's these guys, right? No, those are Fiends. Hold up. Can you consume one of those? No, you cannot consume them. No, these are called Fiends. They're slightly different. By the way, I keep thinking that they're wearing some sort of cool sunglasses here. When I look at the bottom left-hand corner of the portrait thing, I keep looking at these sunglasses, but I guess they're not. These things are called Fell Hogs. Yeah, is that the one? Is that what I need? Ah, yeah, okay. Interesting. So I guess the idea is that you can build like an offensive meat farm to like heal up your Magmadons? I can instantly, yeah, it's like a battery type of thing. So by the way, I wanted to see how these resource camps work. Let's see. I'm currently at 4218. There's no attack. Yeah, I got 40 for that. Okay, plus 40. There's no attack sound for the Magmadon yet, apparently. Doesn't sound very impressive anyways, when it's completely silent like that. Okay, interesting. And then I also have an ability called Flame Coil Lariat. The lassos a target enemy flying units, causing it to fall from the sky, stunning it. Oh, okay. So this is like that Warcraft 3 ability. I'm not sure what it's called in that game, but you can lasso units to the ground. I guess Raiders kind of have that too. Yeah. Yeah, Crypt Fiends have that too. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, I was thinking of the Dragonhawk Rider thing, but not quite the same, but fair enough. All right, what else do we have? We've got the Weavers. So those units are very slow, and they seem to create a hole in the shroud. Launches a harpoon at a target unit, pulling it to the location of the Weaver and dealing 60 damage if it's an enemy unit. So I can't use... Oh, I can't use it on him. Okay. I don't think those sound effects are there yet. We have Consume. Sacrifices a target Fellhog, recovering 50% of max white health instantly. Okay. So that's the same ability as the Magmadons. Meaning that you're kind of almost expected to occasionally eat up your own units. But that's going to cost you a little bit of supply. Yeah, I don't think they have full sound effects yet. They definitely are very slow. So this is a detector as well. Interesting. This unit can see onto high grounds as if it were a flyer. Okay. So they technically exist on the two planes at the same time then. Interesting. This is super slow though. Yeah, no tier 3 units yet for the Vanguard, so I can imagine it's the same for this. Yeah, no Elder Shrine. Permanently grants Infernal units 3% white health generation per second on Shroud. Okay, yeah. So I guess it went from 1% to 2% and then ultimately 3%. Okay, so that's something that they still have to add to the game. We have the Shroud Stone, a defensive structure. It spreads Shroud, stores enemies, and casts rituals. Okay, so this is a way for me to create offensive Shroud? That's interesting. So what do I do with rituals? It doesn't look like they can cliff walk, but we can give it a try. No, he can bug out for just a second though. What else do we have? I have the... Seems like I don't have quite as many units yet. I have the Spriggan, a light flyer, attacks decrease target attack and production speed. Okay, interesting. And we also have the Doombringer. Ooh. That's cool. Ooh, look at them, man. Yeah, they're properly creepy too. Ugh. I really like the Infernals. So hold up, they have rituals. This seems to be another base mechanic for the Infernals. Infects enemy units in the target area with Infest and reduces their vision by 50% for 10 seconds. Bonus 25% vision reduction on Shroud. I can also choose a ritual Blood Moon. Increases the white health regeneration rate of all your units on Shroud by 50% for 20 seconds. So this can have a total of 1000 energy, and in order to get this, it's only 50 energy? That seems like not a whole lot, but I guess... Ah, yeah. I was gonna say, there's one more unit that I did see. The Flayed Dragon. A powerful enthralled dragon can use fetid breath and inhale poison abilities. Has the parasitic soul passive ability. So I can have only one. This is kind of like a hero unit. I can have only one of these. So I can imagine that there are certainly some builds out there where the entire strategy is just there to rush up to a Flayed Dragon. So how do I gain energy on this thing? When an enemy unit dies near one of your units, their animus is collected into Shroud Stones and can be used for rituals. Okay. So essentially what that means is if a lot of units die close to the Shroud Stone, ultimately you will have enough to make a Flayed Dragon. So I guess that little bit of energy that I had so far was from me killing my own troops. Does that count? These guys are pretty weak. No, maybe that doesn't count. Maybe the other units count as kills. Yeah, so a lot of these don't have attack sound effects yet. Some of them do, but some of them don't. If units die near your units, Lowko, not near the Shroud Stone. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so these guys are incredibly tanky, though. Ay, ay, ay. I can't imagine what you actually want to do is make just tons and tons of the basic units, like the basic brutes, seem incredibly good. Like, you can get really fancy, but I think just mass brutes until you ultimately can make a flayed dragon is not a bad idea. So did that count? Yeah, now I have 29. Alright, so let's give these guys a try. Yep, we did gain a little bit of energy. Yeah, the basic spear throwing dudes, these guys as well. Or what did they throw? I don't know what they throw. We can give them a try. Sorry, you guys have been waiting for a while. Hemoglaive Infusion. Increases the unit's movement speed by 50%? Oh my god, what? Let's give that a try. Allows Brute to spawn 2 fiends when they perish, including when they sunder soul. Okay. Yeah, so these guys by themselves are not very good.
Our forces are in battle.
So this is their bobs right now, trying to expand. It looks like my flayed, whatever they're called. No, Spriggans rather. Spriggans is actually a pretty cool unit name. I really like that. Yeah. Okay, so I think we'll try out to play a proper game here in a moment. I think what I'm gonna do, yeah, is just increase the amount of production I get over here. So they don't have any anti-air currently, which doesn't help them out. And it looks like the AI is kind of dumb. They're trying to chase me down. Is there an all army hotkey, guys? Maybe a dumb question, but is there an all army hotkey in this game? It's pronounced Prigin? Space? Oh, spacebar! Can I destroy this? Is this considered the tree of this map? Because these guys could charge through stuff. Oh, yeah. So those are considered trees on this map. Gotcha. Okay. So now my brutes should automatically spawn in a bunch of random stuff whenever they die. Yeah. So we didn't actually make the Shadow Flyer, did we? I don't think so. Yeah, so these bobs are not the smartest. But that's obviously AI based. So my brutes should automatically split themselves up right now, even when I don't do anything. Like whenever they die. It doesn't seem like there's a reason for me to manually activate the ability anymore after unlocking that, but I'm not sure. Maybe it has to do with unit veterancy? I'm not sure exactly how that works. Or maybe if I do it manually, you get 2? Oh, I wasn't done upgrading it yet. Oh, that's why.
Our forces are in battle.
So let's see. So now the upgrade is done. Oh yeah, now I get 4. Holy crap. Okay. So again, one of those things where if you're a bit of a newbie, you don't really have to manually micro it, but if you do, you get rewarded for it, which is neat. These guys are actually very powerful. Like, they die regardless, right? So that's kind of the trick with them. Since they lose 1% of their max HP a second, you're very much so encouraged to fight. Oh, obviously there is no... Well, yeah, I guess against Vanguard, they do get race veterancy. Or unit veterancy, rather. It's not a thing that the Infernals have, but definitely something to take into consideration. I also would imagine that the damage per second of 4 of these little guys is bigger than the brutes, even if you don't take movement speed into account. So if you know that you're being chased and the enemy is going to be home soon, it might actually be better to just blow up your own troops and quickly try to get the damage that you can get if you're cornered. One cool thing about this game that StarCraft doesn't have is that the game should actually be optimized to run well on computers. So you could actually play very large armies It should be possible, for example, to have like, I don't know, an 8v8. And assuming your hardware is at least somewhat decent, you're gonna be able to run the game with maximum supply counts. I don't know what the unit is. Okay, unit limit is currently 300 supply. Okay. They claimed they can do 32 players in a game. 16 versus 16? Or 32? I saw that there was a maximum of 64 players in one of those lobbies just now. If you have a 34 versus 32... Hold up, 32 versus 32 players playing at the same time, 300 supply each, you would have to have a very, very large amount of stuff moving around the screen. If the game can still run well at that point, I'd be very impressed. By the way, I never got even remotely close to having enough energy right here for the Flayed Dragon. So that's a bit of a shame. So they still have to add additional stuff as well to this faction. But overall, it seems like they are very far along already. Yeah.